some nerd power. It's the Falcon Paladin Hour, a podcast by Falcon Paladin and Somicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie, talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Got my glass of water. I'm gonna do NPR voice, and I think everything will be okay. Oh, yeah. I actually went to the doctor today because I was like, all right, it's been 4 days of this garbage. What is going on? She's like, well, you don't have a fever and you don't have like spots on your throat like you have strep throat, and you don't have any sinus pressure like it's a sinus infection. So just like it's a cold, take over-the-counter medication, and if it's still here in 2 weeks, let me know. And I'm like, are you kidding? 2 weeks of this garbage? I wake up every morning and I just like hack. I don't even know how much like disgusting phlegm out of my throat because it's all just been collecting there all night. I don't know. I feel like I do this about once a year. I just get really sick and I lose my throat and then or lose my voice, and there's all this gross stuff going on, and then it goes away. So I guess it's time.
It's that time of the year.
It is. I can remember it being closer to like middle of the summer for me in the past years, but I guess May is close enough.
It's getting closer and closer every year.
It is.
Yeah.
I know. Like eventually it'll be a Christmas thing, which will be a lot of fun.
It's getting so close and close every year that eventually it'll just be constant.
It just extends in duration to where it's all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Let's not do that.
This is how you're going to
Holy
sound
crap.
all the time. NPR,
Yeah.
StarCraft caster. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Just official StarCraft caster for National Public Radio. It's Falcon Paladin. I'm gonna do a couple casts like this, I think, too, just because I'm gonna do it.
You're going to have to. Do that or not
Yeah.
post.
Yep, it's gonna be good. So if you haven't heard these already, I'm sure you have, but if you missed them, go back and listen to Falcon's NPR casts because they are something else. I don't know if they're good, but there's definitely something else.
Instead of calling it an NPR cast, you're doing your best Bran Stark impersonation.
Oh my gosh, I have to go now. Yeah, it is very Bran Stark. I think you're right, but I'm not like as messed up wise as he is, because it's not like true wisdom. It's just acting mysterious for dumb reasons. I don't even want to talk about Game of Thrones. But yeah, you're right. It's like a Bran Stark voice. You know what I do want to talk about, though, Mr. Somicron?
Toronto Raptors.
A little bit, sure. We can get there in the sports minute.
Okay.
But what I really want to talk about is Chernobyl. Holy cannoli.
Yeah, so you're tweeting about that.
Yeah, so HBO new miniseries Chernobyl, not a TV show. It's not going to be multiple seasons. It's going to be like 6 or, I don't know, maybe 8 episodes. I'm not sure how many they're planning on, but it just covers the Chernobyl nuclear reactor accident back in 87, I think it was. And it is so incredibly well done. Last night, I was like, I'll watch one of the episodes because my buddy was telling me I should watch it. So I watch it, and I'm like, how many more are there? And then I watched the other 2 and went to bed at 1:30 in the morning. So,
Yeah, it's good.
yeah, it was good. It's so good. And I mean, it sucks you right in because it starts with this woman who lives in the town where in Chernobyl, where the reactor is. She's up at like 1:30 in the morning. She can't sleep, and she's getting a glass of water, and all of a sudden this just bright light goes poof in the distance, and then like 2 seconds later, whoosh, just shockwave hits, right? And she's like, what the heck was that? She looks over and she can see the power plant from her window because she's like on the 8th story of this building, and it's on fire. And her husband's a firefighter, so and like he gets the call to go fight it. So like immediately you're just invested in these characters of like, oh crap, I know what's happening here. I'm like, these two love each other and they've got a kid on the way, and you know, she's like, you be safe, and he's like, we've never lost anybody on this crew yet. And I'm like, oh no. You just jinxed the whole thing, man. Because, yeah, they're going to go fight a fire at a nuclear reactor that's exploded. They're all going to die from radiation poisoning. Like, you know that. Before they even get there. It's so gross and, like, so affecting. It's amazing.
Okay.
So what do you know about Chernobyl? Have you read anything about it?
Are we talking about Chernobyl the show or, like, the...
No, just the incident.
Reactor went metal. Like, that's kind of... I know that there's, like, a growing pile of like radioactive moss that's like just a giant hunk, like they call it like the elephant or something, because it's
Oh, really?
yeah, it's just in like one of the basements or something, and it's just spits out radiation constantly, like you can't get to it, and all these weird photos of it. But that's I mean, not much. Short answer, not much.
You know, I didn't actually know about this one. It's called the Elephant's Foot.
Yeah, there it is.
It's a massive corium formed during the Chernobyl disaster of '86. Once deadly radioactive, its danger has decreased with the decay of its radioactive components. That's amazing. So it happened in the explosion. They found it like 6 months later, 9 months later, and they found it beneath reactor number 4. That's amazing. It's like they're doing all this cleanup and they find this thing. That's gross.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, it's amazing partially because we're just watching people deal with the aftermath of this thing. And what makes it more interesting for me is it's all within the, how do I say this? Within the framework of Soviet Russia. So a lot of the decisions that are made by government officials, right? And people who are loyal to the party and people who have this extreme desire not to be seen as incompetent by the outside world.
Okay.
So a lot of these people, when they hear our core exploded and we're blowing radiation into the air and it's going to kill millions of people, their reaction is that can't be happening because we will be screwed. So there's a ton of denial, especially in the first couple episodes of like the higher up the chain you go, the more people are like, nope, that's impossible. Nope, that can't happen, because they don't want to face what the reality is if that is what happened.
Okay.
So like as a result, they don't evacuate the town for 2 days. So everybody in Chernobyl is just getting dosed with tons of radiation for 2 days.
Yeah, it's like there's a limit on the amount of radiation that a person will absorb just through background radiation, and it's like they received 5 times their lifetime's worth in 2 days. Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah, and there's a meeting. So there's this one scientist who gets called in as an expert on this type of reactor. And he's in a pretty high up meeting in Moscow, and like one of the higher ups kind of tries to play this off as like, well, I mean, everybody at Chernobyl got like enough radiation compared to one chest X-ray. And he tries to make a joke about it, like, so if you're late on your checkup, then just don't worry about it, you know. Everybody laughs. And the scientist says, no, it's about 500 chest X-rays every hour. And everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. So there's this scientist who's like fighting against this. He's like, I just want to save as many lives as I can. I want to just make sure that the disaster is as small in scope as it possibly can be for what it is. But I'm fighting against this bureaucracy of people who just don't want to believe that it's happening. And it's like, it's just so sad.
Yeah, and like radiation apparently flew like 700 miles away, and it was like people, because no information was getting out of the Soviet Union. I'm reading here on the Washington Post that other scientists from around the world were having to put information together based on accounts coming out of Sweden from where they were picking up radioactive activity.
Yeah, and that's in the show. It's totally like, we can't let anybody know this happened. There's no news that gets out anywhere, even to other places in Russia. We got to keep this under wraps. And then this monitoring station in Sweden's like, hey, the Soviet Union, like, we detected some of this very specific element that only you're using in your nuclear power plants. And the only reason we'd be detecting it is if you exploded. And they're like, crap, it's out. Totally got busted. The science is amazing. It really is. Yeah, even in the show, there's a woman scientist who's like the head of nuclear research for the USSR. And she doesn't know about it. Nobody tells her either, because she's not on the ground in Chernobyl. And she does the same thing. Like, on the show, one of her assistants comes in one morning and opens the window, and immediately this like radiation alarm goes off just because they opened the window and they're like 400 kilometers away. And I'm like, hold on, what is that? So they test what it is, and they're like, the only place this is happening is one of either these 2 power plant stations in Russia. So they call the one, and they're like, you're okay? Like, yeah. And they call the other, they call Chernobyl, and nobody answers. And she's like, it exploded, and they didn't tell us. Science.
Yeah.
Yeah. Radiation is scary, scary stuff. And somebody posted on the subreddit, Chernobyl TV is what it is. There's a GIF that displays the radiation dispersal since 86 across basically most of Russia and like all of Europe over time. And I mean, it's not, it's not the levels to which Chernobyl got hit with it, but I mean, they traced these elements as they got carried by the winds throughout a lot of Europe. It's insane.
Yep.
So anyway, like I didn't know, it's this whole big, it's like a one disaster after another here, because it explodes and you're like, okay, that's bad. Basically the core is on fire and shooting off this plume of radioactive smoke into the sky that is polluting everything around us. We need to put that out. So they basically have these helicopters flying over the on fire nuclear exploded core and dumping sand and boron onto it to negate the flames and the radioactivity. So they take care of that and lose like a ton of helicopter pilots in the process because it's incredibly dangerous up there. But then they're like, yes, but now the core is melting down, and if it melts down to the point where it hits these water tanks that are open, it will create a basically nuclear-sized blast of several kilotons that will wipe out everything for, 60 to 70 square kilometers around the thing and poison the entire water table for most of the region. So like, now we have to deal with that. I mean, it's just thing after thing after thing, and it's just so intense the whole time. And really, the only thing that saves it, I don't know that I'm spoiling much. I think most of this, what I'm talking about, is in the first episode. And anyway, is that this scientist, the one I talked about, the first one, he gets sent to Chernobyl to check things out, to get some like eyes on the ground, because nobody believes it actually exploded. So they send him down to look at it, and sends down another like lifetime bureaucrat with him to kind of keep an eye on him, right?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, the thing that saves this whole operation is that this bureaucrat believes the scientist, right? They get there, they get to Chernobyl, the people on the ground are like, no, man, nothing exploded, everything's fine. Like, there's just a fire. There's just a fire on the roof. That's all there is. And immediately the bureaucrat's like, I can tell you're lying because I do this for a living, basically. And so he decides to believe the scientist, and pretty much anything the scientist needs, this guy's immediately like, you got it. So I think, if the TV show is accurate, I think a lot of lives were saved because this one guy just decided to trust this one scientist, and he knew what he was talking about, and that he was really interested in saving lives and just making sure that the truth got out. So it's really good. It's just the interactions are great. The relationships are good. It almost kind of turns into like a buddy cop thing with this lifelong like Soviet bureaucrat hanging out with this nuclear physicist guy. But it's fantastic. I think there are 4 episodes out by the time you hear this, and it's on HBO. And it's great. And I could probably talk about it for another like 2 hours, but I think we're going to go hold off for now.
Yeah, I look forward to it if it eventually comes out on the Microsoft Store for me.
I am sure it will. Is there anything like HBO that does make it on there eventually?
I don't know. Like, the only HBO thing that I know of is like Game of Thrones, right?
Right.
And that's on there. And
But
I'm
can you
looking
get,
at Chernobyl. I searched for Chernobyl, and there's only like a 2013 movie called Road to Chernobyl.
Oh yeah, isn't that about the guy who like rode a motorcycle through Chernobyl?
No idea.
Because there was a dude a few years ago who did that. Everybody was like, "You are insane!" Just like strapped a GoPro to his helmet and like rode through Chernobyl and took all these pictures and stuff. Let me see. I'm gonna Google it.
Hip hop recording artist Crucifix documents his journey across the globe into the radioactive dead zone of Chernobyl to film his latest music video.
That's probably not what I was thinking. Then.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he wasn't a hip hop artist. Let's try this. Motorcycle Chernobyl. Kid of Speed. Oh, this is way older than I thought. This is like 2004.
Oh, okay. This movie's
Holy
from
crap.
2013.
Yeah, so a lot more recent.
Yeah. Kid of Speed.
My rides through Chernobyl area. And this website is very much like 1997, although it's 2004.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Promise Wedding? What is that?
There's a wedding.
Like, if you scroll down to the bottom, it's got like a chapter select, and the very last one's Promise Wedding.
Contains reviews of wedding studios, including Promise Wedding Studio. This seems unrelated to the Chernobyl thing.
It sure
Throw
does.
that out there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh, cool.
interesting.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of pictures here. So anyway, incredible. I'm sure hopefully one day you'll be able to see it. So like, what about like Sopranos or The Wire or what other like HBO shows have there been? Deadwood, Westworld.
Let me look.
Any of those?
Westworld, one word.
Yeah.
2 seasons available.
Yeah, there's only 2 seasons, so that's good.
Alright, that's good.
That's up to date.
Breaking
Silicon
Bad?
Valley? No, Breaking Bad's AMC.
Okay. Silicon Valley. There appears to be a TV show.
Yeah.
Hold on, no, it's disappeared. What the? Now it's just showing me Little Mole's Puzzle, a free-to-play game. And
Does that sound right?
5 pieces of DLC. But when I was typing into the search bar, it came up. But not when I hit enter. That's weird.
Yeah. It's odd to me that you'd have Westworld but not Silicon Valley.
I have 5 seasons available.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. So I assume if it's not there, sooner rather than later, Chernobyl will pop up over there. It seems like HBO has a pretty good relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over there. Cool. Good deal.
Good deal.
Excellent. In other news... Oh, sorry. Did you have something?
I have something, but
Yay.
just while we're on TVs and movies and stuff. Right now, I am watching The Terminator. Like, 1984 is The Terminator.
The first one. Okay.
Yeah. Because Valve's latest game, Artifact, is entirely dead. Like, 6 feet buried, gravestone has gone up. And so people on Twitch are streaming under the category Artifact, just movies and stuff and like whatever they want. There's the guy who has the most views at the moment is like, can I beat all of Halo 3 before I find a game in matchmaking?
Oh my gosh.
So he has Artifact in a tiny window, and then the rest of it is just him playing Halo, but it's all tagged as Artifact, and I'm just watching someone stream Terminator at the moment.
That's fantastic. I didn't realize it was so dead. Last I checked, it was on its way out. It had a very small player base, but
it's very dead.
Friggin' Valve.
Yep.
Like, stop trying to cash in on garbage and cash in on Half-Life 2 Episode 3. Let's do that first. First step.
I mean, it's like people have been building that game up for 8 years. I don't think they could put out a game that anyone would be satisfied with.
Okay, but here's the thing. I honestly think if they just did Half-Life 2 Episode 3, they wrapped up the cliffhanger that they put in Episode 2 and used the exact same engine they used back in 2004, I think people would buy it. I don't think everybody would buy it, but I think a bunch of people would buy it. It'd be profitable, and then they could explore doing whatever the crap they want to do with Half-Life 3. But I don't know that they're in the market to do that kind of stuff anymore at all. I don't think they're even interested.
I think if they wanted to do other stuff in Half-Life 3, they wouldn't even be concerned about finishing Half-Life 2. Like, if they wanted to do other stuff in Half-Life, I don't think they'd even feel the need to finish that. Because people have built it up, and it's, like, endings are hard. If they ended on a cliffhanger, they need to have some payoff for that. And so the expectation is always going to be greater than what they can do. Even though they have more money than all the gods. And they could literally work on it forever and make it perfect. I still, like, the longer it takes, the more anticipated it will be.
Yeah, and you'll notice I didn't say if they put this out, it would be well received. I just think people would buy it.
Well, yeah. You'll see, I didn't argue that people wouldn't buy it, because they absolutely would. If it was bad, exactly. People would buy it. Like, it's Half-Life.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if Valve put it out. But yeah, I mean, everything that I've read just indicates they have no interest in developing games like that anymore at all. They don't have the staff. They don't have the people who've been doing it for years. It's a dead in the water thing. So
Well, they have
will
the
never
stuff. The problem is their business structure is flat, right? You work on the products that you want to work on, which is why for like 6 years, Steam had no customer support. Like, it would take forever for anything to happen because no one in the company wanted to do it. Because you're dealing with the people that are frustrated, and they've sort of diversified and made steps in that direction. But if you want to put your name down as being the people that work on Half-Life 3 or Episode 3 or whatever, but it turns out crap, you're the ones who are doing it by choice. And it's entirely possible that you get there and they don't, like, if essentially Gabe Newell and the other people at the tops of Steam or Valve say we're not even, like, it's not an available project to choose, well, then you can't do it then either.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, endings are hard. It's just always sad to see something that is so well regarded and so highly loved turn into nothing at the end, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the question. Is it better to just never go back to it, or is it better to go back to it and be disappointing? I guess they would argue it's better never to go back to it, you know?
Yeah, they would say that. Well, that's what they're doing at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure that decision has been made considering it's 2019 at this point.
Right. But the thing is, they also haven't made any of their other franchises, which are equally as popular. Portal, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress.
Yep.
Right.
True.
I mean, there was a lot of rumors that they were going to do, like, with the Steam box, that they were going to be like, oh, we're putting out a, Steam PC console-esque device, and launch day will be March 3rd, like 2013, I think this was. So there's a lot of threes there, and if you buy it, it comes preloaded with Half-Life 3, Portal 3, and Team Fortress 3, and Left 4 Dead 3. And it's like, obviously everyone on the planet would buy that.
Yes. They would make all of the money, I believe.
Yeah. And then, of course, nothing ever happened. Like, they had some announcements that were planned around, like, March, because I remember this. And it was it was around Steambox. It was around March.
Okay.
March 2013. That's roughly when that was being announced. And it was just, yeah, we're doing hardware with SteamOS. And that was kind of it.
It was. It really was. That was it.
Yep. And then, of course, 6 years later, when was the last time you heard anything about a Steambox?
I can't even think, honestly.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
Yeah. Brutal. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, you think Left 4 Dead, I mean, that's a beloved series. It's good, but I mean, I don't think the hype for Left 4 Dead 3 is anywhere near what Half-Life 3 would be. You'd think if they were afraid of the hype and afraid of, like, ending a story, I mean, Left 4 Dead is just a zombie shooter, man. There's no pressure to finish a story there. You know what I mean?
No, but all the storytelling in that game was done non-directly. Like, you weren't fed a story, but there was story there if you looked for it. But it's still, like, a compelling zombie shooter, and it's still one of the ones that does it the best. People still really love those games. Like, I'm not saying it compares to Half-Life 3 in terms of hype, and I don't know why they wouldn't be doing it. That's the thing.
Right. I just can't think of a reason why. I understand the reasons why you wouldn't do Half-Life 3, but Left 4 Dead 3, and even Team Fortress 3, like, the Team Fortress expectations are not that high. People are just like, we just won another game? Like, I've never talked to anybody on Reddit who's a big Team Fortress fan who's like, they need to blow me away with this, like people expect with Half-Life 3.
No.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think they made their pile of money. Steam gave them additional huge piles of money, and they were like, well, why risk it?
Probably.
Which sucks. Totally sucks. I mean, what they need to do is pull like a George Lucas and just like sell the IP to a company that will actually do it and give it a shot.
I can see that happening.
Yeah. And the key here, as always, like the reason that Marvel works in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because Kevin Feige loves Marvel and knows how it works. And if you got somebody on board at another development studio who knows Half-Life and loves Half-Life and knows how it works, I think it could work. You just need that guiding star. You need that direction from somebody who truly understands and loves the intellectual property. I don't know who that would be, but I mean, there can't be only one Kevin Feige in the world, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
And I mean, the story about Kevin Feige that really sold me on how much he loves it is that he was sending Sony like unsolicited suggestions of how to handle Spider-Man. Back when Sony owned Spider-Man, he was sending them emails like, "Listen up, I don't work for you. Like, you don't have to take these suggestions, but this is how Spider-Man works. This is what you need to do with him." And he wasn't getting paid for it. He just loved Spider-Man. So, I mean, that's what kind of person he is. And that's what every single piece of intellectual property needs to have behind it if you're going to try to make movies or video games off of it.
Here's the thing. Valve has already given Portal to other to another developer.
They?
Yeah, because there's the bridge constructor Portal. Right, which is...
they
didn't give it...
side-scrolly...
Yeah, it's a bridge building game.
Yeah.
But bridge building with portals, right? And so
Right,
if they're willing,
that.
if they're willing to give the IP to other developers to do things on it, why not do it with all their other games?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, honestly, give it to a young and hungry studio who's done great things, but isn't like huge yet.
I mean, finding young and hungry that have done great things, that's very narrow, overlapping fields on the Venn diagram.
Yeah, it is. I don't think there are a ton of options. I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like a CD Projekt Red, maybe like post Witcher 3. I don't know.
I mean,
Something like that.
CD Projekt Red doing Half-Life would be great, but they need to finish Cyberpunk 2077 first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Right. But you get what I'm saying. Just something along those lines of a young studio that really believes what they're into and really has somebody involved that really loves Half-Life and really would make it awesome in some way. Maybe one day. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Blah. Blah, I say. Sad note there for sure. You've been watching What We Do in the Shadows?
It's finished.
Oh, was that the last episode? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's finished.
The orgy one?
Oh, what?
The last one I watched was about a vampire orgy. That does not sound like you know.
I read somewhere that it was a 6-episode season, so after the Baron's Night Out, I stopped checking it. There's two episodes.
Man.
2 episodes out that I need to watch.
Yeah, you're way behind.
I will watch those now.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but just one part. So you know how the show has been pretty lighthearted about the vampire reality, right? It's like, sure, these are real vampires. They murder people or turn them into vampires or, suck the blood from virgins and prey on human beings and are generally not great. But it's generally comedy, right?
Yeah.
So there's a part in this latest episode where they're trying to find a virgin for their orgy, right? So they can it's like a caviar plate, right, for everybody to eat. And Guillermo's actually run out because he's got this list of places he keeps finding virgins, but he's kind of overfished it. Right. He says. And so he's at the store with his I forget what his vampire's name is. Anyway, with his boss, and he runs into one of his buddies who's a virgin, and his boss is like, "Dude, that's the one. You should invite this guy to the party." And Guillermo's like, "I really want to be a good familiar, so I'll be turned into a vampire one day, and I really haven't had a problem bringing strangers in to be devoured by vampires. But now that my friend is involved in this, I suddenly have a huge guilt complex, and this is the worst thing of all time." And I was like, this is almost too real. This is getting way too dark for a show about vampires that are literal vampires, So I'm not going to tell you anything else, but he basically has this huge conflict and I don't know, it made me look at Guillermo in a different way. Yeah, you have been leading innocents to be devoured by creatures of the night for years now. Why do I think you're a good person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Made me think about it a little bit too hard, I think.
Fair enough. Well, maybe... I mean, he wants to be a vampire as well. He wants to continue to prey on these people for all eternity.
He does. Yeah. And again, that's another fact that I never really. I don't know. He's just so soft spoken and like just looks like a nice guy. He doesn't go out of his way to like hurt anybody except for the times that he very deliberately gets people killed. It's very weird. It's a very weird character. And yeah, you're right. There's tons of evidence that he's not a good person, but I just never really saw it until this last episode.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, another show that I'm interested in. A show called Dairy Girls.
Dairy Girls. Never heard of it.
You heard of this one?
No.
Yes. So it's Irish, and I believe it's. I don't want to say it's on the BBC because they're Irish, and because it's a Netflix show. All right. It's originally on.
If it's on Netflix, you get to see if it's on my Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Channel 4, a public service free-to-air television network. Okay, cool. So it's not BBC, but it is like Great Britain TV. But it's just a show set in Ireland with a group of like teenage girls, and there's a guy involved who came up from London.
Oh, Dairy Girls. Okay.
Yeah. What did you think I was saying?
Dairy,
like cows?
Dairy.
Yeah. That's a common confusion.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry, Derry, Dairy Girls.
Dairy. All right. It is on Netflix.
Yeah.
No.
Good. Cool. So, I mean, as far as I know, it's just 12 episodes of like 20 minutes each. It's not crazy. But I don't know. I saw some clips on it, like on Facebook. Somebody was just sharing a couple of clips. And I'm just a sucker for accents. It's part of my attraction to a lot of the like British shows that I watch, and part of why I like Randy so much, right? Is a little bit just of the accent.
Yeah.
Right. You understand that.
Right. Cheerio.
Yes. Cheerio, mate. But anyway, it's just the writing is really snappy. The pacing is fantastic. It's funny. It's not hilarious. Like I wouldn't compare it to like any of my super favorite comedies, but it seems pretty solid enough from what I've seen of it. So I think I might start giving that a shot here. Like my shows are kind of starting to fall off a little bit.
I was watching Critical Role this morning. A new episode came out, like new VOD, and Sam Riegel, one of the players, he's in charge of doing the ad reads for one of the sponsors, D&D Beyond. And he does just crazy stuff with it. Like, late last year, he announced he was going to be running for president of D&D Beyond. And so each week, every now and then, he'll do, like, it's an ad campaign, but it's an ad campaign. Where he's going to run for president of this company that he's not involved in.
Okay. Good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah, weird stuff like that. And this week, he was like, I want to give, throw something back to our international audience. And I'm like, oh God, I know what he's doing. And he's like, in particular, our Australian community.
Oh, no.
And it's like a 2-minute ad where he fills it with entirely Australian slang and a really bad accent.
In fairness, the Aussie accent is really hard to do, apparently.
Yeah, but he's a professional voice actor.
Does that mean you're good at accents?
Yeah, I think so. If you have to act with your voice for like anime and stuff, you need to do other accents and voiceovers and stuff like that. I assume that's what accents are. I mean, it's true he might just be bad at Australians, but he should be good at other things.
Well, sure, but again, from what we've established, Australian is harder to do than other like English language accents.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I picked it up pretty easy.
Well, in that case, everybody should be able to just be born there.
Just be born here, spend 25 years, it'll be fine.
Not a problem. I am looking forward to the day when we can just like plug in languages into our brain. I assume accents will come with that too. That'd be like easier than teaching me Korean through a microchip, I think.
Actually, not. I think learning the language would be easier than doing the accent, because the language is just data, right? It's just like a database.
Yeah, you're
the
right.
The accent's how you move your mouth.
Yeah, I think that's harder to like implant into a microchip. I think
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing a lot of really
I've
great
rethought
stuff
this.
with like lip cosmetic surgery, so who knows? Right? Like they could build
They
you a
just adjust
bionic
your
mouth.
Oh my gosh, you put on a bionic mouth so you can speak Chinese with the correct accent. That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Oh, there was another thing.
Okay,
So they released some footage for the Witcher TV show.
Ooh, I have not seen these.
And one thing in particular that showed up today is Nilfgaardian armor. And it's just wrinkly. And this PC Gamer article that I found referenced someone who described it as the soldiers looked like ball sacks with swords. And PC Gamer could only say, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What is going on with this? Why can't they get any of the costuming right, Omicron?
I don't know, but that is, he looks dumb.
It's bad. Why is it so wrinkly? That takes effort, doesn't it?
I don't know. I mean,
I guess it depends on what the material is. Maybe it is naturally wrinkly.
yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
So bad. It looks like paper mache.
It does. What is, like, because these are Nilfgaards?
Yeah, Nilfgaardians.
Nilfgaardian.
They just
I wonder
wear
what this
black, and
supposed
they
to
have like weird wings. I like how the first results are from the TV show right now.
People also search for Nilfgaard soldier. So they just wear, like, black plate mail. That's what I'm saying.
It's a black plate, and like they have stupid wings on their helmets, which I can't imagine is practical at all.
No. Ditching the wings I can see, but why would they go, like, why would they make it wrinkly? Like, the just
I don't
dark
know.
plate mail with, like, gold trim and the red vest. That would look quite good. Like, I don't see anything hard to do here.
No, and it is. I mean, it's pretty distinctive with the way, especially the pauldrons are. Then the gauntlets and stuff. I mean, it is distinctive. It's not just like this is plate.
I mean, yeah. It's not just like, it's not wearing, a wall.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like that isn't any harder to make than the ball sack. Right.
Right. I'm with you. I don't get it. I don't know why they're falling on their face so hard with this.
Here's the thing. If they had, like, some sort of colored marks and spots over them, I would then at least be able to say, oh, it's, like, a VFX reference, like, start point, right? Like, but there's none of that.
Nope. It's just a garbage bag, wrinkled up, and put on this guy.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I feel like paper mache might be the best analogy.
Yeah, it really looks like it. Looks like you hit it with a stick and candy comes out. Poor guys. Poor people involved.
Poor people. I feel sorry for, like, the actors and stuff there, because they're the people on the screen and they get all the glory, but if it turns out crap and it's not their fault because they're not in charge of the direction, like art direction and for the armor and stuff, and it's like, well, I'm sorry you're going to get lumped in with that when it could have been a lot better, but it's not your fault.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of like if you're on a show and the writing is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything about it. You just deliver it as convincingly as you can and call it good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I hadn't really considered how much costuming and the visuals matter here, but yeah, I mean, if you have top-notch acting and writing and story and the people look like this, it still gets laughed off the screen. People aren't going to watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You
and
have
I mean,
to
I
at
feel
least somewhat nail this.
Yeah. I feel like The Witcher, the universe isn't strictly, like, over-the-top flamboyant or anything. Like, it's nothing unique. It's very gritty fantasy, almost, right?
It is. Yeah,
right?
totally.
So it shouldn't be. It shouldn't even be something that's difficult to reproduce.
Right. It's not like you're doing Final Fantasy armor or anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on the Final Fantasy, but
the most flamboyant it gets, right?
well, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 is like guys running around in like black t-shirts and jeans. so
That's easy enough.
Yeah, but there are definitely people who are like, there's like Final Fantasy 10. I'm wearing a dress made of belts. Recreate that accurately.
Yeah. Have fun with that, costumers. Yeah, that sounds horrific. Yeah. So, I don't know. This just kind of opened my eyes to like, you can't fall on your face this hard with the visuals. You can nail everything else, but if the visuals are bad, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It really just makes me really respect what Game of Thrones pulled off in the first 5 seasons, where visuals were great, acting was great, writing was fantastic, plot was interesting, and that's hard to do. It turns out. But you need all those pieces.
Yeah. Do you know what I've actually been watching? Right, not Terminator, but I have been watching an anime called Restaurant to Another World.
Wow, that sounds very anime.
Yeah, a guy in Japan is working at like his, I think he says at one point it's his grandfather's Western restaurant. And he's like, why is it a Western restaurant when we're serving all this weird stuff? And his grandfather's just like, well, in Japan, Western restaurant just means anything not from Japan.
So where's it from? Like, what kind of stuff is it?
It's all over. There's like, you pick a country and they're serving a dish from there, basically.
Okay.
But
it looks like the episode titles are all food. I didn't. Yeah. I'm looking at the thing now, like fried shrimp, omelet rice, tofu steak.
Yeah, chocolate parfait, spaghetti with meat sauce. But the concept is like in this fantasy world with like demons and lizardmen and lionmen and elves. Once every 7 days, doors will appear on like the day of Saturn, right? And only certain people know where these doors are. But they go through and they end up in the restaurant. But his cooking, because it's from another world, our world, it's so good. They always come back every 7 days to try and get more. And that's literally all the show is. Every episode, someone will come in and be like, what the hell is this place? And then they'll order just something from the menu. And then they'll put it in their mouth. Their eyes will widen. And they'll instantly turn into a professional food critic and describe how the food tastes so amazing. And that's basically all it is.
Like even if they don't even have any like experience or training in that, they just turn into food critics.
Yes, like the demon waiter girl, she's like homeless because tieflings are, kind of looked down on, right? She moved to a human city and had to cover like her horns. And then when she accidentally dropped her hat while serving someone, they basically ran her out of the city.
Aw, poor tieflings.
Yeah. She's like homeless, she's starving, she like dream hallucinates that she like found this door in this like ruin that she stays in, walks in, mistakes it for like a wizard's abode, and finds just like some soup he left out, and is like reviewing it like she's a Michelin star expert. All right. Like a Michelin critic.
Amazing. It's like Ratatouille.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
And so there's no like overarching plot. It's just like monsters show up and they eat it and they love it.
Well, there is some, like there appears to be like a dragon queen that gets introduced in the first episode, where she considers the restaurant to be like an investment on her part, right?
Oh, yeah.
And some of the characters will recur, and they'll be in the restaurant when the new person comes in, and so you'll get to see some interactions with there. But there isn't like a growing problem, right? The biggest problem I've seen so far is like the elf came in and was like, "I'm a vegan. Do you have anything that can be like?" And he's like, "Well, we've got tofu steak."
I think that counts. Does that count?
That totally counts.
Yeah. Okay.
And
winner.
Like, and then like the elf was like, "I can't believe humans are making better food than we elves are." And then she like runs away from home to grow up and become a cook. Like,
she's like inspired.
Yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm wondering if anything will come of it, like if you will get a story. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
I do like how in every incarnation of elves, they're racist against humans. Every single time. Like, humans can cook. What is this garbage? That's not true. Anyway, well, good. Looks like it's on Crunchyroll, so I've got my sub there because of Attack on Titan anyway.
Fair enough.
So I will give it a try. Bookmark this.
I mean, here's the thing. Even to the point where, like, the queen dragon or whatever, she can transform into a human, and she's briefly nude. Like, it's the only nudity in the entire show. First episode. And she goes to the restaurant, she gets it to herself, she sits down and orders beef stew. The animation is, like, in every cut, her horns look very different, but all the animation budget went into making the food look amazing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like called a restaurant to another world. The food's important.
The food's important. All right.
That's fantastic. Like, these horns, whatever. Do whatever you want with those. But that stew better look like the best stew you've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Did it make you want stew?
No, not really. Because
it wasn't that good.
Well, no, the stew looked good. Like, did I want to eat that? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did it make me want, like, stew enough to go out and get stew or make stew? No.
Oh, right. No. I just wanted to know if you wanted to eat what they showed, so.
Oh, yeah.
That counts.
If I could eat everything that was being served, I would.
Even the tofu steak? Do you like tofu? I don't.
I've never had tofu.
You should try it, just so you know that it sucks.
Here's the thing: the elf even describes it as being surprisingly bland, but the sauce like makes up for it, and like the texture's great or something. And it's like, oh, okay, it's bland, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Tofu is a replacement like substance, and then you put stuff on it.
Yeah.
It's not great. No. All right. Well, I'm losing my voice, but one last thing before we go.
All right.
This came out with Cyberpunk, which we referenced earlier. Basically, people are hoping for a hands-on demo at E3. And CD Projekt Red was like, nope. We'll probably bring a trailer, but no, we're not going to be hosting any gameplay.
That's
and
fine.
It does seem to suggest that the release date might be further off than people had hoped. There are some rumors of a 2019 release date, but I don't believe CD Projekt Red has ever said anything about that themselves.
I mean, fine. I mean, if they don't want to have hands-on gameplay, I can't like. I don't find anything wrong with that. If they're like, we'll let people play it when we think it's ready. That's fine.
Yeah, no, totally. That's that was the Blizzard model for a long time. It was, we're going to release this when it's ready and not a second sooner, and you guys can like wait. That's how this works. So if CD Projekt Red, I mean, they took their time with The Witcher 3 as well, and it was great. So I trust them.
Right.
I trust them to get it right, and it takes them an extra year or two. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is it never coming out. We'll have a strict talk if that's what happens here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yep. I'm excited for it.
It is. So I guess we'll do a quick sports ball minute, and then we will wrap it up.
All right. Do you need me to count you in?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's NBA Finals time. Kawhi Leonard is a robot. He's a robot assassin machine sent from the future to destroy all of our basketball hopes. The Raptors were down 2-0 against the Bucks, and then Kawhi went nuts, winning the next 4 games in a row for the Raptors, sending the Toronto Raptors to the NBA Finals for the first time in their franchise history of 23 years. They're a fairly new franchise when all is said and done, but it's their first finals trip ever with a player that they expect to lose at the end of the season. It's very strange to see what will happen with that. He might want to stay if this is a promising roster. They can get him to finals year after year after year, but he also might want to leave. Like I said, he's a robot. It's impossible to know what he wants. But on the other end of the Warriors are unstoppable, especially if Kevin Durant is healthy for this series. He might not be, but if he is, just look for a Warriors 4 to 5 game win. And if not, it might be a close series. But in the end, I think the Warriors are too much for the Raptors, and they will get another victory here.
Okay.
Seriously, Kawhi Leonard, robot. You think I'm joking? All right. Boorah. All right. Well, I'm going to go drink some tea and rest my voice. But thanks for hanging out with us today for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, where Falcon sounds like he's on his deathbed, but I'm serious. I'm not dying. I just sound like I am. Please go ahead.
If you die before this comes out, do you want me to still put it out?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yep. Excellent. All right.
Verbal confirmation. Recorded. Yeah, check out the merch. We've got hats and hoodies and all sorts of great stuff for you out there. And please consider supporting the podcast on patreon.com. Link in the show notes there too. And until next time, as always, thanks for hanging out with us. And you take care of yourself.